Hey, family and friends, this is marriage and divorce coach, Dr. Angel Cartagena, here with our weekly edition of Tuesday Tips. Um, Today, the question that I want to answer is one that I frequently get from people, from clients, people seeking advice on how to live life after divorce. And inevitably, one of those questions is always, when can I date again? Now, there's a well-known divorce program out there that actually has like a formula. Like they calculate like how long were you married, divided or multiplied. I can't remember what the formula was. All I know is I was like, this was obviously done by an engineer, and it is totally unrealistic. We're human beings. We're not computers. We're not automatrons or whatever that we can be run by some algorithm. And so I developed, in that spirit, I developed a sort of 5-question test for whether you should date again after a divorce, or when you can date again after a divorce. Now, I want to make sure that we're all clear in case you're watching this and you have not been a regular viewer of Tuesday Tips. My advice comes from the standpoint of a pastor. I'm a Christian pastor, and so if you are a Christian, this applies to you. I would actually make the argument that many of these questions in my standards make sense across the board. Think about it. But here we go. So if you are thinking about getting divorced, here are the 5 questions that I would ask you if you came to me for advice. The first one is, how long ago was the divorce? Divorce is painful. Listen, man, even if the marriage was so painful that you want the divorce because it will bring you relief, it is still painful. You had a whole story written in your mind. You had an image of how your life was going to unfold, and that was destroyed by the divorce. And so, in that spirit, there is going to be pain that has to be processed. There's going to be, anguish that you're going to have to deal with. And here's the thing, you don't want to bring that into a new relationship. In other words, if you're reading a book, right, and let's say you're in chapter 6, you don't start reading chapter 7 until you're done with chapter 6. And so if your divorce is fresh, if it's something that hasn't happened all that long ago, give yourself some time. And at the risk of stating the obvious, make sure that you're getting help either through a counselor, divorce coach, or a divorce group, but get some help for yourself. Okay, so the first one is, how long ago was the divorce? The second one was, how traumatic or cooperative was your divorce? In other words, if you and your spouse were hard at war against each other and just bringing the worst sides of yourselves into court and making public statements to people about each other and fighting over money, over this or that, trust me, the wounds that are left after that kind of fight are deep. I can remember one time reading about Muhammad Ali after a fight, and I believe that the fight was with Ken Norton. He won that fight, but he had to be hospitalized because he had internal bleeding by how hard Norton hit him on his sides. A battle like this is brutal. It can really hurt you and really cause a great deal of pain. And if it's been that kind of divorce, again, that's another reason to allow yourself to have some distance between your divorce and someone that you're dating. Number 3, what were the issues leading up to the divorce? This oftentimes can have an effect on whether you should date or not. So, for example, there was one couple I worked with, I remember, where this man married a woman who had been married before, and her first husband committed adultery. And so he marries this woman. He loves her very much. He's trying very hard to be the kind of husband that he feels he should be according to the word and according to her expectations. And yet, she could not trust him. She was constantly on him, spying on him, and basically putting on him the guilt of what her first husband did. And so you need to be careful that you know what your issues were going into a new dating situation. And if the person that you're thinking about dating also divorced, you need to know what their issues were, because those issues can surface and can affect the quality of your dating and or second marriage. So be very aware. So how long was the divorce? How traumatic or cooperative was your divorce? What were the issues leading up to divorce? Number four, how long have you known the person you wish to date? In other words, if this is a new person you met, someone that you didn't know before, you know, you went out to some, I don't know, social gathering or something, I wouldn't date for a while. I would concentrate on building a friendship first. I mean, oftentimes our marriages fall apart because we got all hot and heavy, and you know, let's be honest, we got sexually active. When you're sexually active and those endorphins and stuff start running all through your body, it blinds you to whatever red flags you should be picking up on. And so, in that spirit, I say build a friendship first. We used to have something we used to say at our church, and I'm not sure that I'm necessarily married to the idea, but it had a lot of merit to it. And it was have a long friendship, short engagement, forever marriage. Long friendship, short engagement, forever marriage. And so I will say that if you have not known the person a long time, then you really need to build up a friendship. One of the ways that I was blessed is the person after I got through my divorce and I got counseling and all that kind of stuff. The person who I started to fall in love with was someone I actually had known for a while as a person of great integrity, reliable, a good colleague at work. She just her reputation and her conduct were such that that you know already many of the things that I needed to know about her, I already knew from our previous friendship, previous relationship, and so it made it really easy when I started to fall for her and decided I wanted to date her. So how long you've known the person that you want to date is also important. Now, here's one note of caution. I know situations where a person has started to date someone who they knew from way back in the day, but for some reason had an I sort of idealized picture of this person that doesn't match up with who they are. And so you got to be you got to be careful about that. And in many ways, even if this is someone you've known a long time, if you haven't hung out with them for a while, you still need to sort of rebuild the friendship before you start dating. And then this last question seems obvious. If you are a professed Christian, then you need to ask whether the person you want to date is a Christian. And I have, some might say, sort of pessimistic view, but I've been doing this long enough. I've been counseling long enough, coaching long enough to know that what I'm about to say is true. And it is this: if you're a lady and this guy that you want to date says he's a Christian, do not take his word for it. In case dad didn't tell you, in case you didn't learn this with your first husband, in case your brothers didn't tell you, in case no other man has taken the time to tell you this, let me be the first one to tell you that a man will tell you anything to get into your pants. That there is the truth. So, what does this mean? If he says as a Christian, well, that's wonderful, great. When can I meet your pastor? When can I go to your church? When you go to his church, bring a couple of your female friends, at least one, but I would say two, with you to the service. Sit with him through the service. Observe. If he walks in and walks out, I'm just saying. On the other hand, if he introduces you to the pastor, if there's several people in the congregation who take interest in you and he introduces them and they have glowing things to say about him, then you know that this brother is a committed Christian who's been at this church. He has served at his church. The people know him in his community, and you can take that to the bank. Well, one of the other things I joke about is, look at his Bible, right? Get his Bible, and if you open it up and it goes, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. it means it hasn't been used. Okay, you want to look in here and see underlining, notes in the margins, pages dog-eared. You know what I'm saying? You want to see a Bible that's been used, right? This one that I have here has this green leather on it, and I don't know if you can see, but it's dark from all the many times that I've put my hands on it and have kept walking. And as leather does, it'll collect whatever is on your fingers and stuff. So that's what you want. So should you date again? You certainly can. Um, but how soon you date somebody depends on these 5 questions. How long ago was the divorce? How traumatic or cooperative was your divorce? What were the issues leading up to your divorce? How long have you known the person you wish to date, and are they a Christian? So I hope that this helps you. If you have any questions having to do with pre-marriage, marriage, or divorce, please reach out to me by going to my website at drangelcartagena.com. That's all one word, drangelcartagena.com. There's a place there that says contact. You can reach me through there. I would be more than happy to help you. So I pray that this was a blessing to you, especially if you're in that situation of thinking, should I be dating now? And don't forget that God loves you, and so do I. Have a wonderful and blessed week.